Hi everyone. So I've had some requests from students wanting to know how to use the PowerPoint video recording function. So that's one option you can use to pre-record your group presentations for your group assignments. And there is also many other video recording softwares that you are also welcome to use. So if you're more familiar using, iMovies or some other video software, then that's fine. You can stick with that. You can submit nearly any format. We just need to be able to access your video, preferably as a link that we can just click on, and then we can grade your presentations based on your pre-recorded videos. You can also attach a link to your group report, somewhere really obvious when you submit, so that when you upload your report, there's a hyperlink which we can click on that should take us straight to your pre-recorded presentation. So just make sure if you do that, though, that we do have free access to your video. We don't want to be requesting access at the last minute from 60 odd groups. Okay, so what we're doing today is I'm using Zoom in order to record and share screen, and I'll be using a PowerPoint that I pre-recorded earlier for the purposes of this workshop on how to use the PowerPoint video recording function. So I'll start by sharing screen. So you don't have to worry about any of this because obviously this is just part of the instructional video bit. What you will see, hopefully on your own computer screens when you start doing your pre-recorded PowerPoint presentations, is that you'll have your PowerPoints ready. So you obviously have to do the slides first before you can record the slideshow. So when you do your slides on PowerPoint, there's a couple of tips I want to go through before I show you the recording bit and the editing bit. The first thing is to make sure you have enough space on your video screen, for your video screen, sorry. Now we all know that it's important not to over clutter your PowerPoint slides anyway, but with video recording, obviously it's more important because all of a sudden, when PowerPoint records you speaking, it will create a little video of yourself down here. So this is the default position, but I'm not a huge fan of where that is, nor am I a fan of the size of that screen. And so what you will be able to do is eventually, once you're finished, you can drag that around and resize it. And so that's why it's important that you leave enough space, about 25% of your PowerPoint slide, for you to be able to reposition your video screen. And that's important for us as well, grading, because we want to see you presenting. Right? So that's the first tip, is leave enough space on your slides for your video screen. The other thing I need to point out now, if it isn't already obvious, is that the video that you see now with me waving, that's only because we're using Zoom. That won't be there when you're working on your PowerPoints at home, just in case that's not clear. This video on the left, however, is the video that is created after you've used the video recording function. So leave enough space for your video screen. Another tip I learned the hard way is to leave each slide with a smile. So every time you click through the transition, make sure you're smiling, because if you don't, the recording, it doesn't stop, it keeps going through, and so it will end up capturing you in a silly pose or something, which you can edit yourself out of, but it's just extra time. And if you can avoid that, then why not? So leave each slide with a smile, because that inherently means you begin the next slide with a smile. And from a presentation point of view, it's also good, especially if you're nervous. If you smile, then it sends a signal to your body that it's not that bad. And then if you struggle with presenting, then that is just a good tip to have anyway. And it doesn't leave the audience feeling sort of cringy for you if you're clearly uncomfortable. If you smile, then it just makes everything flow more smoothly. The final tip is to leave enough time. So what I've found through experience over the last 4 to 6 weeks is that recording takes way longer than live performance. So, back in the old days, before lockdown, I could just rock up to a lecture theater, talk for 2 hours, and it was done. What I'm finding with these pre-recorded lectures or presentations is that it takes ages, because you have to make sure that you've organized the slides in a way that gives you enough space, but you also have to check that the recording is flowing through the right way, and the slide transitions are not, you know, cutting short or being too long if you edit the length of your actual video. So there's all these things you have to consider. So make sure you leave yourself enough time if you're going to do this video recording, which we all have to, because that's now the expectation for the presentations, for the group presentations. Right. So before I take you through the editing part of the workshop, I'm just going to show you what you do to actually record once you've got your slides in place. So you've done your slides, you've made sure there's enough space for the eventual video. When you go to this part here, so this is on the slideshow tab. There's a record slideshow. You click on that. There are two options: record from your current slide, which means you can make a recording on a slide by slide basis, or record from the beginning. If you click on record from the beginning, it'll bring you up to this screen here, which is your presenter screen. This is the notes screen. On my second monitor, which isn't shared, there's the actual presentation that the audience will see. Now, I tried this before, and the reason we're getting this warning is because I'm using the camera for Zoom, so that you can see this box here. The camera won't work for the PowerPoint video recording. But that's only because I'm using Zoom. For you guys, you shouldn't get a pop-up like that. And when you click record here, it will give you a 3-second countdown, and then it will start recording in a little box down here. So this is already here because I've already made this previously so that we can actually have something to work with. If I didn't pre-record prior to this Zoom video, then what happens is the camera can't be used, and all you end up with is an audio recording. Okay, so, but that won't affect you. So the moment you click record, it will give you a countdown like this, and you're smiling. And then it will start recording, and it will create a little, you know, a thumbnail in the bottom right-hand corner. Right, and then when you click through to the next presentation, it will take you to the next screen, et cetera, and it will just roll straight through and create another thumbnail down here. But I will stop this now because I've already done this. So when you guys are doing this in your group, you're going through and you're recording. And then once you finish, it will complete the slideshow and bring you back to your actual editable slide set. So let's assume what we've just done there. Okay. So as you can see, it's taken out the various videos that we had because of the Zoom camera here, but that's okay. I'll just undo everything. Right, so there we go. So this is the original PowerPoint that I did create. I've just undo until I got back to the beginning. Right, so you've recorded your thing, and you'll have this little video, as I said here. And as I mentioned, you can move that around, and you can reposition it, preferably to about 25% of where you want it. Now, if you need to edit it, so see this down here, this is what happens when you don't smile at the end of each slide. You can end up looking like this. And so if I just move this up here, we can resize that, even though it's not particularly pleasant right now. But more importantly, what we can do is we can edit. So what you want to do is you click on this mini video screen. You can reposition and resize. You want to trim this, so you right click, which will bring up this set of options. You click on trim, and it'll take you to this other screen here. From here, you can move the start time. So you want to go from that, which is not so nice, to something like this, right? Or wherever it might be. And then, or you can do it sort of, I guess, manually down here by clicking this here. And you can also adjust your end time, right? Then you click OK, and that saves it. So what that does is that it saves the video, but it doesn't change the thumbnail. So I'll teach you how to change that soon. But if I was to play, you'll notice it goes straight to the bit that the new start time that I created, and likewise it'll finish at the right end time. Okay, but let's say, because we don't want the thing to start off like that, if you want to change to this screen, what you do is you go to a moment where it's less awkward, or more, I guess, accurate a representation of where the video will start. so it doesn't jolt the audience. So it starts like that. And so because this is a little bit more pleasant here, you come over to your formatting tab up here, and then you go to something called poster frame. Click on poster frame and see how it gives you 3 options there. So you can put basically anything into this thumbnail, but current frame is the most accurate description of it. So if I click on current frame, that is now the current frame. It's taken it and it's turned it into a thumbnail, right? So I've gotten rid of that funny face that I had before, and the current frame is pretty close to what the video will start like, as you can see. Okay, so that's what you do. So now in terms of, so we've done this part here. I've taught you how to trim the video, how to save it, how to create a new thumbnail if you need. The thing is, when you start to trim your video, you want to be aware of the time length of this entire video, because the slide transition and the video length are 2 different things. And the default is that when you record a video, it'll take the length of that video and it will work that out to be the automatic slide transition time. Okay, so what that means is when you come up to your transitions tab on PowerPoint, you want to check that the video length over here, 21 seconds, matches, the slide transition length, 21 seconds and 28 microseconds, matches the actual length of your video. So the actual length of our video, as you can see, is 18.75 because we trimmed it, right? And so what that means is if you don't change your slide transition timing from 21 seconds to closer to 18 seconds, maybe give yourself 19 or maybe even 20 seconds, what that will mean is when this video ends on your slideshow, you will be left hanging there with a awkward 3-second pause, which doesn't sound like much, but you know, from 18 seconds to 21 seconds, when the slide will actually flip over to the next slide, it'll seem like the computer's frozen or something, right? So what you want to do is you want to reduce this slide transition down so that when you convert the whole thing to an MP4 and the entire PowerPoint plays through as a single video file, you don't have any of these awkward pauses in the middle of, you know, your slides, right? So make sure if you trim your video and you make it shorter, which is I guess the only thing you can do, you can't really make it longer. If you make it shorter, just be aware and double check your slide transition time to make sure there's no awkward pauses at the end of each of your videos, right? The other thing that can happen if you're not aware is that if the slide transition is too short, for instance, for some reason it's 16, whereas the video here is 18, then obviously the slide will transition through before the video finishes playing, which is, you know, in some cases even worse because then you're getting cut off, right? So once you've done all that stuff and you've edited your video, you've changed the thumbnail, you've checked your slide transition, you want to save as an MP4. So over here, you go to your Files tab, and you can go Save As, and normally you can save as a PowerPoint, and I would do that just for safety. So I have 2 versions. I have the PowerPoint saved as a PowerPoint with the video thumbnail still editable, and then if you select MP4, you can save as an MP4 video. And when you do that, what it will do when you click on it is that it will convert the video. So down here in the bottom, you'll see PowerPoint, the program will create a video. So it'll convert the PowerPoint into an MP4. And so this is attractive in some ways because it's kind of like, you know, when you turn a Word document into a PDF, it locks everything in place as one seamless video file. And that means that nothing can go wrong if a person opens up the PowerPoint and the formatting goes funny because of their version of PowerPoint or whatever it might be. If you save it as MP4, then the only thing they can open your presentation is as a video presentation. And then it will just play straight through. Because if you save as a PowerPoint, then the person has to know or be given instructions that they need to go to the first slide and they need to click begin slideshow, at which point the slideshow will play through as if it's a video, but they can, you know, exit out of it at any point and all that sort of stuff. If you save as an MP4, then there's only one thing they can do, and that's push play or push pause. It's more idiot proof. right? So I advise you to save as a video file. And then from there, once you've got the MP4, you can upload it to your Google Docs or Dropbox, or if you have a YouTube account, upload it as a video on YouTube. And then all we need is a link to be able to get to it. And once we click on that link, it'll download or stream to our computer, right? So hopefully that was helpful. And if you have any more questions, feel free to contact me. Thanks, guys.